Hello, welcome to Friday's Knots Today with me, Emma Caldwell. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you're okay today. Nearly the bank holiday weekend, but before we get there, here's what's on the show today. First, we'll be heading to new supported living accommodation opened by the charity Framework.
There's grounds, there's gardens, there are communal areas where we're going to have a lot of therapeutic activities taking place. So there's a real emphasis on sort of comfort and working on the issues that will help people to move on.
We'll have more on that shortly. Plus, we've got some great local guests on the show for you too, including the author of a new study into how converting food waste could cut carbon emissions. The University of Nottingham's study is assessing how food waste can be converted into biochar to cut tens of thousands of tonnes of carbon by the end of the decade. We're going to be hearing more about that in just a moment. Plus, of course, it's Friday, which means we'll be meeting the latest drag artist vying for Nottingham's crown at this year's drag pageant. I love this bit of the show. We're going to be meeting competitor Synchro to hear how they think their unique and fabulous act could lead to glory and even to become the first drag acts to perform on the moon. I know. Also in politics, we're going to be hearing how the first reform-led Nottinghamshire County Council meeting went on Thursday, with some clashes between the new administration and the Conservatives. Councillors clashed over reforms policies for the authority and also voted on a motion which will see the council continue, at least for now, with its exit from County Hall. Plus, in sport, we're going to be hearing some fighting talk from Forest head coach Nuno Espirito Santo as they prepare to go to war with Chelsea for one of the Champions League places on Sunday.
It's a normal week for everybody in terms of approach. We have to prepare the game like we usually do, nothing changes. And one of the parts that we love is that we are enjoying preparing a big match.
Well, we've got all that and loads more coming up just for you this Friday afternoon. First though, an homeless charity Framework has cut the ribbon on a new 15-bedroom accommodation supporting vulnerable women who've experienced rough sleeping, with the space being dedicated to helping them recover and preparing to live independently, with the £2.8 million project receiving support from local and national government. Jack Sims has more.
Cut in. Right, see you everyone.
A £2.8 million building, providing a priceless service to Nottinghamshire. Today, Grove House, a 15-bed dedicated housing complex, was opened by charity Framework and its supporters. The purpose-built accommodation has been specifically designed by and for women with histories of rough sleeping and those with complex needs, with various spaces for activities, treatments, and the delivery of one-to-one support. The service is hoped to not only give specialist support to those who need it most, but to ease other pressures on the system too. And for the staff, they say the surroundings can greatly impact the success of recovery from trauma.
Sometimes, you have to make do with what you've got. Sometimes there are huge hostels in parts of the country where you might have 50, 60, 70 people in, and that's not really always that conducive to that kind of calmness and ability to access support that we're hoping to provide here. People will have their own front door that they can close if they want, but there's grounds, there's gardens, there are communal areas. So there's a real emphasis on sort of comfort and calmness and working on the issues that will help people to move on.
The majority of the project was funded by the government's Single Homelessness Action Plan, which wants to see more specialist housing secured across the country, with Nottingham North MP Alex Norris also showing his support for Framework. It's this support from the government that the charity's CEO Andrew Redfern says will go towards vital resources that will help change the lives not just of individuals but the wider community too.
My hope is that government does understand what needs to happen, that we need to provide sufficient homes and there are people who we need to support to live in them. If we support people properly, it means there's less crime, there's less antisocial behaviour, there's less street homelessness. So many other areas of public service, of the public services, we can take the pressure off those with preventative interventions where we provide people with the support that they need at an early stage.
But for now, Grove House will continue the charity's crusade to ensure that Nottingham's rough sleepers not only have a roof over their heads, but a foundation for a second chance. Jack Sims for Notts TV.
Thank you, Jack. Next, a new study led by the University of Nottingham's Faculty of Engineering has shown that converting food waste into biochar, a stable form of carbon, could lead to a reduction of 93,000 tonnes of CO2 each year by 2030. And here to tell us all about it is Disney Garamalage. I think I've said that right. I hope I have. Disney, thank you so much for joining us. First of all, tell us a little bit more about this study, because it sounds fascinating.
Yeah, thank you for having me. So what we actually did was we convert food waste digestate. It is the solid output coming from the biogas production, and we convert it into biochar. Biochar is kind of stable carbon form that can capture carbon and keep it stable for hundreds or thousands of years. So in one way, we are solving the issue of food waste problem, and another way we are giving a solution for the climate change.
I mean, this must be so exciting when you do your research and you suddenly get to a point where you're like, this is good and we could use this. So how can converting food waste cut carbon emissions? How does it work?
Yeah, so we basically focus on the food waste because food waste mixed some of the food waste containing plastics. So what happened is, what's right now doing is incinerating it, so releasing all the carbon back into the atmosphere. So what we did was converting into biochar, which can keep it without releasing to the atmosphere. And the importance is we can easily do it with less oxygen environment in high temperature, and we can produce it with any kind of biomass.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what does biochar, what do we use that for?
There's plenty of application for it. One is the most applicable one is applying back it in the agriculture field. So it can give several core benefits, like it can replace some of the fertilizer, and it can increase the crop productivity.
That's really exciting. So how will this make a difference? Because we keep hearing people talking about net zero targets and that kind of stuff. Will this help with those targets?
Yes, because in this study we identify that if we use half of the food waste digestate available, it's not the total amount, only the half, we can reduce around we can capture around 93,000 CO2.
Wow.
It's like taking off 70,000 cars off the road.
I mean, that's incredible.
It is.
And I love the fact that this is being done here at Nottingham as well. So thank you very much for coming in to tell us all about it. In terms of carbon emission, obviously this is something that you talk about a lot in your work, but for kind of us who are, it's not part of our world, why is it so important for us to cut those carbon emissions?
Yeah, because UK is targeting for net zero in 2050. So it's impossible to do without these kind of negative emission technologies, because in net zero we are trying to balance the amount of carbon emitting and capturing. So these kind of technologies are must for achieving net zero.
And it just presumably will lead to clearer air for us. Like you said, it's the equivalent of taking how many cars off the road?
70,000.
Wow.
Just by using half of the food waste. But if we use, the green waste and municipal solid waste and grass and anything biogenic can be converted into biochar. So we can contribute significantly for the net zero.
Why haven't we done this before? Did we just not know about it?
No, by producing biochar has been done for years now, but there is no enough support for the policy and investments in pyrolysis technologies. So, and there is no clear carbon credit mechanism in UK yet.
Wow.
So those things need to be implemented to do biochar in large scale.
So what happens now? Now you've done this study, you've found out these incredible things. What happens to the work that you've done now?
Yeah, for the continuing work, we have done identifying, optimizing the biochar production scheme. So we know where the plant should be built and in what scale. So, and also we have developed a model to identify where the feedstock should be supplied in what amount. So whole system optimization, we have a model for that. Wow. But we need support from the government and the local councils to implement that, actually.
Well, we will keep our fingers firmly crossed. If people want to find out more about the work that you're doing, where can they find out more?
Just search for the biochar demonstrator, and we are the first one to pop up. So.
I love that. And just finally, when we're talking about that food, is it literally like food waste that we would have in our homes?
Exactly.
Wow. I love it. Honestly, this is so fascinating. Disney, thank you so much for coming in and sharing that with us today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Honestly, it's wild, isn't it? All right, let's take a look at some other Notts news now. And the public inquiry into the June 2023 Nottingham attacks will look into the management of Valdo Callicane, the events on the day of the attacks and the timeline of incidents leading up to them. The terms of reference for the inquiry into Callicane's killings of students Grace Amani Kumar and Barnaby Webber, as well as school caretaker Ian Coates, have been set, with investigations to be led by retired Judge Deborah Taylor. It'll report back within 2 years and will also assess failings into the paranoid schizophrenic's healthcare in the months before the attacks. Next, and police have said there was no risk to the wider public after armed officers were seen in Loudon. Armed police and a large presence were seen around Station Road on Thursday afternoon as part of ongoing investigations. Nottinghamshire Police couldn't confirm the details of the investigations when questioned by Notts TV and said they appreciate concern from the public. However, they said there was no risk to the community and the police presence was part of an investigation in the area. All right, let's take a short break now, but after the ads, we are going to be hearing from Forest head coach Nuno Espirito Santo ahead of an enormous match at the City Ground on Sunday. I think there's a lot of very excited Forest fans. Plus, we'll be meeting the latest drag artist fighting for Nottingham's crown. I am very excited about this. They've got some big plans, including being the first drag artist on the moon. More on the way next. Hello, welcome back to Friday's show with me, Emma Caldwell. Thank you for joining us. Hope you're okay today. Here's what's happening in Notts today. First, and the first reform-led county council meeting led to clashes between the party and the Conservatives. Nigel Farage's party held its first full Nottinghamshire County Council meeting on Thursday, with new leader Mick Barton appointed into his position. There were clashes between Reform and the Tories over claims that the new administration hasn't got a clue how to run the council. Meanwhile, councillors also rejected calls for the authority to halt plans to leave County Hall and relocate to the new Oak House headquarters on the edge of Hucknall and Limby. Next, and a series of events will take place over the bank holiday to mark the reopening of the Victoria Embankment paddling pool. It's the first time the pool has been open since summer 2021 after it closed due to leaks and outstanding repairs. Improvements started last summer, with the pool officially reopening to families today. Nottingham City Council says there'll be family entertainment throughout Saturday, Sunday and bank holiday Monday, and the first 50 children arriving there each day will also get a free gift. Now, I'm looking forward to going there over the summer with the kids. Now, our next guest is here in the build-up to the Drag Pageant 2025, the event which will take place on June the 20th. We'll see the city's finest drag artists going heel to heel in Nottingham's 4th annual drag pageant, battling it out to be crowned Nottingham's next drag superstar. Over the past few weeks and the next few too, we are going to be welcoming the competing artists into the studio to give us all the lowdown. And competing artist Synchro is here this week to tell us all about their preparations and a very special drag item on her bucket list. Please welcome Synchro. I honestly nearly wore a very similar outfit on the show today. You look fabulous.
Thank you so much. I feel fabulous.
You look it. So talk us through your journey into drag.
So I've been doing drag for 2.5 years now, so not too long. I kind of got into drag through television, kind of like televised drag. I was just kind of obsessed with Drag Race, Dragula, kind of like anything that had drag in it, kind of from quite a young age. I don't think I ever really like saw myself doing it until a bit later on in life. Like I was 22 when I started, which is kind of like late for nowadays. I feel like everyone starts at like 15.
Wow.
But I think seeing sort of like more non-binary performers and sort of on Dragula, seeing kind of like kings, I was like, oh wait, you don't just have to be a woman. You can just be like a fab thing.
Because you are a fab thing. Like, talk us through the look. It's amazing. I've just noticed even your eyes are orange.
Yeah, we've got to be coordinated.
Absolutely.
Always. Match the contacts with the outfit. So I'm wearing today a look made by my fabulous drag sister, Wilma Hickey Hill. I found out about this interview kind of like 5 weeks ago. And I just knew straight away, like I was like, I need to have the fattest thing to come and sit down on the Knots TV sofa.
Absolutely, well, we love it.
And yeah, no, I had to be like super bright and bold, and she's done like just the most amazing job, and I'm so, so grateful to have her.
Because you look incredible, but
Thank
there's a
you.
big drag dream for you as well, which is just fabulous. And why not for this dream? Tell us more about it.
So I'm going to give a little bit of backstory because I feel like it will make a bit more sense. When I was younger, I was super, super obsessed with Guinness World Records.
Right.
Like every year they would publish this
I loved
A4.
that book.
Right?
Yeah.
Like this like A4
Every Christmas
show.
we'd get the annual.
No, this is the thing. And every year there was kind of like this page with the pop stars. And I wanted to be on there so, so bad as a child. So when I started drag, I was like, okay, what can I do that's going to get me a world record that will put me next to Shakira on this Guinness World Record book? I don't even know if they still make it, but
They do.
Okay, amazing, good. So the dream is to be the first drag artist on the moon.
I mean, someone's got to dream it.
Right?
Why
Like,
not?
Why not? Like, this is kind of the thing. I just think like if I don't dream it, then like
Yeah.
it won't happen.
If Katy Perry can get up into space, well, why not synchro?
Exactly.
Oh, I love that. And is this going to have any bearing on what we will see at the drag pageant?
I would hate to give spoilers, but it might do. It might do. I feel like it's kind of like in the background of all my performances, really. It's always like a little bit sci-fi, a little bit like intergalactic, retro, futuristic. So I think we will see a little bit of a dream, maybe, if we're lucky, at the pageant.
So good. And I know you can't give spoilers because it all has to be very secret, but one of my favourite bits of the drag pageant is the lip syncing.
Right.
How do you prepare for that? Is it literally you sort of in your bedroom dancing around?
So
Because that would be me.
I think for a regular performance, it is just literally you're just in your bedroom, kind of like with the mirror. You might like have a drink before and just kind of spend a couple hours like listening to your favourite songs.
I'm guessing this isn't going to be a regular performance for you, though.
No. So for this performance, we've kind of like, I'm working with kind of like the best of the best
Love
of like
it.
all the drag artists that I've known. In terms of like wardrobe, in terms of like visuals, I've got a lovely artist from Scotland, Mary St. Andy, making me visuals for the performance. So it's a bit more of an immersive experience than usual.
Because it's a big deal, isn't it?
It is. I mean, I've like always wanted to do a pageant. I mean, I'm from Colombia, and I've got a little Colombia necklace on underneath this, actually, and I wear it all the time, like literally 24/7. And in Colombia, like pageantry is such a big thing. I think I might be mistaken, so like don't quote me on this, but I think we're like the second most successful country ever at Miss Universe.
Wow.
So kind of like as a child, like I've always kind of like been really into like pageantry, and I've always wanted to do a pageant. So I feel like for my first one, it is quite a big deal, and I'm like really excited.
Deal. We know you're going to do incredibly on this. Honestly, we love having all the artists on the sofa, and it's taking place on the 20th of June. I know tickets are going very, very fast, but they are still available, and we look forward to seeing you there. Thank you so much for coming in and telling us more about your act. Honestly, it's fabulous. I love it. I love this bit of the show. Time now for your sports on a Friday afternoon. And obviously, we're going to be starting with Nottingham Forest ahead of their massive match with Chelsea at the City Ground on Sunday. The Reds head into the match knowing 3 points and a draw for either Newcastle or Aston Villa will see them playing with Europe's elite next season. And as the final match of the season edges closer, head coach Nuno Espirito Santo said he expects an electric atmosphere from the fans, but he isn't underestimating the threat posed by Enzo Maresca's Chelsea side.
It's a normal week for everybody in terms of approach. We have to prepare the game like we usually do. Nothing changes. And one of the parts that we love is that we are enjoying preparing a big match. So why not enjoy it? We have to enjoy it, everybody here. In a game like this, in terms of motivation, you just don't have to worry about that because it's already there. The players are on fire to play the game. So the message is to stick to the tasks, recognize that it's a tough team to play against, and enjoy play the game like we always do. There's no big message.
But of course, for Forest, 3 points isn't a guaranteed Champions League spot. They need either Newcastle to drop points at home to Everton or Villa to drop points away at the Europa League final losers Manchester United. The Team Talk panel, which this week consists of Mark Shardlow, Charlie McParland and goalkeeper James Belshaw, a Notts fan who plays for Harrogate Town, had their say on all 3 matches. And here's their predictions.
Just Forest in action this weekend, but I'm going to ask you about Villa at Manchester United and Newcastle Everton. Villa Man United?
It's a Villa win. I can't see Man United beating Aston Villa.
James?
They're a rabble.
United get a point in that.
Wow.
That's a draw.
Newcastle St James's Park against Everton?
Draw.
So you're going for Everton to drop the points there?
No, Newcastle 3-1, that one.
Right. So the big one at 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, Forest against Chelsea at the City Ground.
Forest win.
Yeah. And how are they going to win it?
Yeah. Well, hopefully score 2 goals. Chelsea does. I just think, listen, don't change it. Just do what you've been doing all season. This is, if it's been successful, why change it? You know, just play the way you've been playing all season. That has brought you success. And hopefully the Forest lads, they've got that extra yard. They're all at it. They're all switched on. They don't make any silly mistakes. And they go and put Chelsea to the sword, then see what happens.
Okay, so...
I'm going to go 2-1 Forest.
Right. And looking at your predictions as a whole, that's Forest in the Champions League as well.
Well, I'm hoping on Sunday when I'm having a little break down in Norfolk, I'm sitting watching and I can have a whiskey after like Nottingham Forest qualify for Europe and look forward, European Cup, look forward to it next season.
Brilliant. James, how do you see Forest Chelsea?
I see an early goal for Forest, and I see 75 minutes of backs to the wall, Forest fans edge of the seats, holding on, and I think Forest get over the line 1-0, Sells to win the Golden Glove.
Fantastic.
And if you missed Team Talk, you can catch it on demand right now. On to netball though first, and Forest will be looking to make it 2 wins in a row when they face London Mavericks on Saturday. Chelsea Pittman's side picked up a very impressive 77 to 53 point win away at Cardiff last weekend to pick back up some form after losing to Manchester Thunder a week earlier. Their clash with the Mavericks gets going at 4 p.m. tomorrow. And in rugby, Nottingham will be looking to salvage something from their poor end to the season when they face Hartpury tonight. The Archers have won just 1 of their 8 championship matches since the season resumed in March, including a thrashing away at Coventry last weekend. The match kicks off at the Bay at 7:45 this evening, with Hartpury also on a 2-game losing run. Time for your Friday picture of the day now. Look at this, absolutely beautiful picture of her swan and cygnets. Absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? Taken by Lisa O'Craft. Thank you very much for that. As for the weather, it's been all right today, hasn't it? Temperatures around 19 degrees this evening, dropping to lows of 11 overnight. That's it for now though, with some light rain forecast on Saturday. Obviously, what with it being a bank holiday weekend, temperatures are going to stay high at 20 with a low of 11 on Sunday. The rain is staying, but there might be a few sunny spells, highs of 17 and lows of 8. And that's the end of the show and another week on Notts Today. Our booth is back on Tuesday, but for now, we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.